was in the Rascal Dogs. I can tell you about him before I get into the conditioning.
Okay.
But until I give y'all guys, when y'all see these pedigrees, y'all gonna be surprised. He had these great dogs there. These, not being prejudiced or anything like that, but these weren't white guys. These were black guys. Okay, another dog. You look on Blackjack, Grand Champion Blackjack's pedigree. You're going to see a dog there that's going to say Wood Shirley 2. Well, Wood Shirley 2 is also, you keep looking around in there at the siblings, you're going to also see a Pope's Shirley 2. See, James Pope, the dude from Akron, Ohio that taught me the pedigree, is the one who actually bred Bosco, Champion Bosco, to Shirley 2 to create that Blackjack grandmother. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I had puppies off of Shirley 2 before. I had a dog named Dusty off of Shirley 2 before that breed was ever made. And I took her and bred her to a grandson of Rascal and came out with a little female named Crybaby. I ended up losing her to the winner, but she had won her match. Her mom had lost in an hour and 5. She didn't really lose. I lost that with my first match at home. You know what I mean? I'm still new. Now I'm up in the real game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these guys are doing something I ain't doing. My dog is showing good. Dusty, she lost in a 2 hour and 5 minute match. And that's because, I didn't know the rules. And, I knew I could, if I was to do it, I would have snatched her right up because she wasn't really in hope. If I can get my dog, she has to be mouthing the dog, as long as her mouth is on the dog. If she ain't in hope and I can get her, I ain't snatching her out of hope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what? I'm not snatching her out of hope. So they did a lot of laying around, maybe 20, 30 minutes of just laying there, but she's laying on a down dog.
Right.
But her mouth is on the dog, but the dog's leg is literally laying in her mouth. She's catching her breath. The other dog, she just down for the count. Dusty just ain't letting the bitch go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she ain't really got her, but her foot is still in her mouth. So they telling me that, I can't touch her. To them, they call it that mouthing the dog. Well, I don't think she's mouthing the dog. The dog foot is in her mouth. But she's not holding the dog.
Yeah, it's a difference.
Yeah. See, what I know now, I'd have snatched her ass up because she wasn't in hope. The
Correct.
foot was in her mouth, but she wasn't in hope.
You were green at that point.
Yeah. So I learned that lesson, and what happened was she laid there so long that, when the dog moved a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Her foot slid out of her mouth when I grabbed her. Because she was never really on hold anyway. So it was on me to go.
Mm-hmm.
In the game, you're supposed to get your scratches out the way.
Yeah.
Okay? Another lesson I learned. But on her scratch, it took her 11 count to get her. And I accepted that count because it was true. Took her 11 seconds to get there. And get there quick enough because when I first let her go, the first match, but she stood there for a second. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped over and clapped my hands and told her to go get her. She started wobbling across the box. But we was already on like a 5 or 6 when she started moving.
Right.
We finally got over there and mouthed the dog. It was 11, There was no doubt it was 11. It wasn't no 10, it was 11. So I took that. But the other dog didn't even scratch. She didn't have to scratch. And that's when I learned about scratch to win.
Right.
All the little lessons. Now, I made another mistake even after that. When I took judo, I took judo into a 46-pound dog. After I lost that one, right? So I'm going to get back. I'm going to get judo. And they had one named Red Dog. So I'm going to take judo. I'm putting judo on Red Dog. Okay? At 46. So I'm putting this weight on judo. I'm putting weight on him. I'm bringing him all the way up. I'm riding him. I'm walking him. But I'm steady feeding him to get his weight up for this match.
Correct.
But he can weigh 46 when we get there. So when we get there, this dog is a big-ass dog. I said, he big, you know, and Judo, he looking all fat, this dog looking all skinny. We was like, man, Judo, you supposed to smash this little skinny dog. But he bigger than Judo, he big as hell. But Judo weighed in at 46. Man, they laughing at me, man.
No,
I'm laughing at you too.
Man, you know they laughing at me, right? I don't know what they're talking about, but when I cut Judo loose, they wasn't laughing too damn much. And Judo jumped on that dog head and did the goddamn going like Barney, got the dancing around there.
Yeah.
And the dog was so big, so you know, he pushing Judo around, but Judo ride him out, so he can't really get to Judo. You know, for like 30-something minutes. Now Judo then got tired dancing around, moving away from his dog, and his dog caught up on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they was telling me, man, get your dog, man. Get your dog. Get your dog. And I was, you know, he was getting beat up, and I was like, yeah, they said, get him, man. So I got him, and they said, go ahead and scratch him. Don't just walk out of there. Go and scratch him. So I scratched him. I lost because I picked him up. But they said, before you get out of there, you make sure you got a game dog. You got to scratch him. So I went on here and scratched him, and he went over there. So then they told me after the match, man, what the hell are you doing? Do you know what you're doing? He said, man, that's a 35, 34-pound dog you got right there. Why did you bring that dog in there like that?
Right.
I didn't know nothing about conditioning. I said, I bought in a 46-pound, and because he had a 46 pound,
no,
I bought in a 46 pound. Man, they laughed at me about the little hard cast took me under his wing. And he said, we're going to fix him back up. We're going to take him back out at 35. You know, and that's what we did. I used to walk from my house all the way across town to his house. And when I got there, he had me putting the dog on the meal. He had me giving the dog this certain amount of food, had me giving him this type of powders and shit, you know what I'm saying? And all I had to do was get up in the morning, put him on the scale, write it down. Bring it back in, you know, after he get done shitting, write it down. So when I get to his house in the afternoon, I should have 4 weights on there. The time he weighed when I got him up and took him, before I took him out, what his weight was when I brought him back, and then before I took him out to work, you know what I'm saying? I put him on the scale, wrote that down, and then what his weight was when I brought him back. And I had to have him on a piece of paper when I got to his house. So I had to walk from my house all the way across town to his house.
You used to walk the dog over there? You used to walk the dog over there?
Yeah, I used to walk the dog over there every day. Rain, sleet, snow, it didn't matter. Man, I was out there walking this dog.
Yeah.
And when I walked over there, he would put the dog on the meal. I'd give him the paper, he'd look at the paper, and he'll see the weight, and then we put the dog on the meal. We started off at 30 minutes, then we got up to 45 minutes. By the time it got down time to the show time, we had that dog on the meal at 30 for 3 hours. We would have him on the meal, never taking him off. We just had him on there for 3 hours. And when I took him out, I would walk back home. Before I leave his spot, I would have to put him on the scale after he got off the meal, you know, and then I walk all the way back home. And when I got home, I had to put him on the scale again.
Right. Yeah, that motherfucker was in good shape.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something, man. When I brought him out, we went into a 2-time winner going for his championship. Now, remember, Jude was already a 1-time loser. Dang, but he still lost. I was going into a 2-time winner named Jughead coming out of New York. He was coming down off of that RC and the Soulful Boys champion Mag. Now, they were talking real highly of this dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't even matter, man. I'm still new to it, but I got 2 losses. I done came home with these dogs. I'm losing with them. Man, Judo made me proud, bro. So this is what he looked like at 35, okay? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I seen what he did to that 46-pounder, but you should have seen what he did to that dog at 35. It wasn't even a contest. He did the same thing he did to that big dog, but now he's doing it with a dog his size, and he mopped that dog.
Right.
It didn't even make me 30. That match was over in like 23 minutes. So that was my first win.
And that's when you understood then that conditioning, what you thought you were doing, wasn't nothing.
Nothing. And the whole time now, I got James Pope. See, the thing about James Pope, when I met James Pope, some guys, I came from North Carolina. I was saying names like Snooty and Grand Champion Molly B. I guess up north, these guys knew these old dudes, I guess, from the books or the journals, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about the journals. When dude turned me on the Pope and said, man, take these papers over there, because they were AGBA registered, all my dogs. And James Edwards gave me a big paper at judo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had Molly B, Edward, Wood, Snooty, and all that right there. So when Pope seen me, and when I first met Pope, when I went to his house, he had a dog in his backyard. And this dog had a blue eye. And it was a black and white dog. And when I first met him, he took me out to his yard. And I seen Shirley, then I seen that blue-eyed dog. I said, I know that dog. I seen that dog before. He said, where you see that dog at? I said, that dog was on James Atlas Brewer's yard. And he called that dog Blue. He had because of that blue eye. I've seen him on Atlas Brewer's yard. He said, you're right. That's where it came from.
Right.
But that day forward, you know, he taught me how to read that pedigree that I got from Atlas Brewer and James Edwards. And then he really explained, you know, like he's one of them kind, he gets into the deep parts of understanding. And the easiest way for me to understand, you ask yourself, as a breeder, why are you taking this female and breeding to that male? Mm-hmm. He said, it's the breeders, it's the thing that you think about. Every time you think about breeding, you ask as a breeder, why are you making that breed there? And that's what made me understand the concept of not only breeding, but looking at the pedigrees.
Right.
You know, knowing that brother sister breeding is what produced judo. You know? Mm-hmm. And both dogs are coming off of Wood Snooty and Grand Champion Molly B. You know, this is why, you know, like he said, most guys don't come in the game being put on such a level of dogs. Right. Many guys go a whole lifetime and don't get the dogs that you got. And you don't even know who the damn dogs is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you don't even know how great these dogs is and the people you got them from. See, I didn't even know James Edwards and Alice Brewer was anybody but two white guys until I got to know James Pope. Then he turned me on to the journal. I look in the journal, I'm seeing these old dudes, they great dog men.
Great dog men.
You know? Yeah. And that's how I got brought into the journal, because he used to write articles for the Sporting Dog Journal. Now I'm getting the journal and I'm reading and I'm learning who these guys was, who Grand Champion Molly B was, who Snooty was, why they was breeding like this. Pope explaining this to me. Remember now, he's the one he still got Shirley on the yard before he even made the Bosco breed. When he made the Bosco breed, he sent Shirley down there to Kimsey Woods to make that breeding, and Shirley never came back. When he made that breeding, Shirley never came back. He came over my house one day and came and gave me a puppy. That puppy was off of Champion Bosco and Shirley. Little mate sister to, it was a little mate brother to Amber, Black Jack's grandmother.
Yeah, Carolina got a lot of great dog men down there. They got a history of that.
Well, they had a lot of great dog men. See, they got beat out of the pocket because you got Gaston, Triplet, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Fat Bill. You got Tom Rattler. See, that's the great dog men in the Carolinas, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Roster Man Boone. You know, those were the great dogs, man. Carl Mims, Ed Perrin, you know, all them were Carolina dog men.
Right.
Tony Wade. You know, he was the only black name, Roster Man and Tony Wade was the only black name you heard me mention, right? Mm-hmm. That was it. Tony Wade and Rasta Man Boone. They're the only two black dudes outside of Sheriff Powell. And Sheriff Powell, I was always wondering why nobody wanted to put their dog on Sheriff Powell's dog. When you go back and look on that pedigree of Tornado, go look at them TNT Hatchery dogs. Them Hatchery dogs, them were some beasts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were scared of James Powell's dogs. I don't know whether they were scared of them because, you know, them dogs would bite people or something, but I noticed they would put their dogs on everything but them two Hatchery dogs he had over there. He did not put them Hatchery dogs on none of their dogs. They would not mess with him. They were letting us bring dogs, you know what I'm saying? But they wasn't messing with him with them Hatchery dogs. And I was wondering why, you know, why don't nobody got them dogs? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
After I got up in Ohio, I was wondering, I'm starting to learn. And then I was always talking about the TNT Hatchery dogs, and Pope would ask me, how you know about them? And I was just telling him about, you know, Sheriff Powell's dog. He had these Hatchery dogs. Keep in mind, there was no tornado yet. But he gave me insight on why wasn't nobody messing with them Hatchery dogs, because them dogs was on another level.
Right. What you call fast lane.
They was really fast lane, you know. And like I said, them dogs were sent up there to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where the Tornado and the Dutchess and all those dogs came down off of that shit. That's where they came from. Right off of that breeding right there that he made there. So, you know, you got Pope doing one thing in the blackjack thing, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you got Sheriff Powell and the Tornado pedigree.
Right. So he taught you about the paperwork. So when you started reading papers, what it made you understand?
How to breed a good one, to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. All these dogs, as far as he's concerned, all the dogs will go. As far as he's concerned, pedigrees don't mean shit without the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Run that. If you want to know how a dog is bred, it's because you like that dog. The only time you give a fuck about how a dog is bred is when you like that dog.
That's true. Because now you want to know what's working behind the sauce.
Exactly. I mean, he taught me how to figure it out. There's a formula there. When you recognize the formula, what made that work, you need to stick to the formula. His project was always copy.
Mm-hmm.
Just copy. When you see it working, don't break it. Fix it. Keep it right where it's at. Copy. Remember I told you, take the rascal dog I had off of Shirley. Take her up there. She was right off of Shirley. Rascal bitch. I took her right up there and bred to a grandson of Prince Charles Rascal. He was double bred. And that's how I got Crybaby. I gave him two puppies, and I don't know what happened to him. You know, he had a habit. And that was the only thing that kept him from being a great dog, man, you know, but he was definitely a breeder. You know, and everybody in the journal knew him. Jack Kelly knew him, you know, Snake Man knew him, mm-hmm. Kenzie Woods knew him. These are all the guys that I knew because of Pope. With the Abernathy, Reverend Dat, you know, just, you know, he was just, everybody knew him.
Right.
You know, he had a gift of gab. He had a good talking in him. But I think that he was a guru when it came to pedigrees. And he only took me on this when he took my boy T.O., that was my KP. Me and him is like real, you know, my KP takes more credit for our Going Hard dogs than we do. Because it was him that made the breedings. You know, when he had to go sit down, I just took the dogs that he made the breedings to and did what I was supposed to do with them. Because I ain't no breeder.
Right.
He was more of the breeder, and me, I was young and still on that. You know, I want to get back out there.
Right.
You know, he gave me a dog one time. He went and gave me a dog from a guy from Millbuster out of Maryland. He gave me a dog named Mikey. And when he gave me this dog named Mikey, he gave me a pedigree. He gave me an ADBA written out pedigree. You know, and he told me to send it in. And me, I never sent it in because, I let the dog grow up. Well, his first match, Ohio Cash hooked me into the Legion of Doom. For the people who don't know who the Legion of Doom is, all they have to do is look up Legion of Doom Grand Champion Luther. That's all you gotta do. Just put in him, then you go look up Kenny Allen's Grand Champion Robert T. He's Champion Robert T now. If you look in there at the right pedigree on Pairs Online, you'll see that he lost to Legion of Doom Grand Champion Duke. So, that gives you an idea of who Legion of Doom is. For your listeners who know who the Legion of Doom is, they'll tell you, you ain't gonna find them losing much. But we won Best in Show that night with Mikey. So now you're gonna make me go back and look at the pedigree. So I take the pedigree over to Pope, and he breaks it down. You can look it up, Going Hard Kennels, Little Mikey, and you'll see the way he's bred. First time I ever seen a red boy dog or a buck dog. Mm-hmm. I can tell you about this dog he was a badass. We won Best in Show. We won in like 40 minutes. And won Best in Show on a 5-car show. Beating the Legion of Doom. That was my highest moment in the dog game, too, y'all. But, that was my best one. Then check this out. About 3 or 4 months later, I might got to go sit down because we wilding in the streets, got in some little shit. So we had to go give them 30 days our time. Well, we were trying to keep it a secret that nobody, we didn't want nobody to know we was missing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, a dude saw us locked up. And I'm telling you, the dude got out, and it's like when we got home, Judo and little Mikey was gone.
Damn. They got you.
They got him. And they was we started, that was our first picking up steam to just be 2 badass dogs with Judo and Mikey. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, our name was Buzz, and they took the 2 baddest dogs. I'm like, we was locked up. So now we don't have nothing. We back to 0.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn. But that next move was a great move. I told you about my KP. Same dude. He bought a dog out of the box. Her name was Amber. She was off of Bluegrass Kennels Champion Wrangler. She was off of Champion Wrangler. And she was bred to a yellow John bitch on the bottom. So this is our first red boy dog. Now when he got her on a pickup. He told the dude, you pick her up and I'll buy her.
Right.
So he picked her up. Now he had bred Amber to Rocker Stonewall. I know he had bred to Stonewall before. And I know he had bred her to, what was that dog's name? I forgot what the dog's name was. I know he had made another breeding with her. But the breeding he called me on, was the Grand Champion Ace breeding. I know she already had some litters. No, I tell you who it was, Termite. She bred a Rocket Stonewall and Champion Termite. After those breedings there, she came in, and he was like, hey, you want to ride with me? I'm trying to breed Amber again. I said, who you going to breed it to? We're going to ride down to Ozzie Stevens' house. And here I go again. I really don't know who Ozzie is, but I'm getting pretty well known that he in that journal, Right. By now, I got my subscription, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm walking around with them journals like my school books. Anytime I got questions, I go looking through my journals, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we go down to be heading down to Ozzie. We get almost to Ozzie's, and he ain't answering the phone. So he was like, well, and she's ready to get bred. So he started telling me, look in the journal, see what we can find. So I'm looking through the journal. I ran Grand Champion Ace. He not knew what to do. And he was like, hey, that's where we're going. Give him a call, see if he answers the phone. Well, Larry Combs answered the phone. They called him Supernet. He answered the phone. And when he answered the phone, we took off. We headed to Supernat's yard. We bred the Supernat. Bred Grand Champion Ace to Amber. Then we took off. We went back to Ohio. Then we waited about 4 or 5 days. He called us. We went back down to breeder again, then bring her home. So that weekend, each time we went down there, we spent a weekend with Supernet.
Right.
It was a good experience. He just recently died. And he was a good dog man. You hear Boots, Supernatural Boots, dog that went 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And like I said, Grand Champion Ace, he's the one that beat Champion Rocky. And he beat another champion. I forgot which one it was. But, Otis. He beat Rocky, and I think he beat Otis. Champion Otis. But he was a good dog, and he was a stifle dog. He won 6 matches, and the longest one was 46 minutes. So we got puppies off of them pup stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, in the process, after those pups was born, he wanted to, she came in heat again. And now he wants to go bring her to Angel's Apache. And Apache, he was up in Connecticut. So now we're on the way up there to go see Angel's Apache because we're going to bring Amber to Angel's Apache.
Right.
Now, if guys know the game, guys, there's listeners out there that know the game, and they listen to these dogs I'm naming, they're gonna be saying, damn. That's what they're gonna be saying, because if they know the game, every one of the dogs I've named in this conversation are great dogs that you can go out there and see how good they were.
Right.
Like
And that was smart. I'm listening to what he did, but what he did was smart. He bought a good dog that he's seen that was just probably getting outmatched, and said, you know what? Let me get this dog right here. Let me go breed her to all these good dogs. That was a good move.
That's what he was doing. Yep, exactly what he did. And why we breeding the Angel's Apache when we get there, right? This when we get there to breed the Angel's Apache. There's some dogs and some other dogs. We're there with Angel, and so he's walking, showing us the dogs in the yard. Now, here's the dogs on the yard. Mayday, Dolly, Mayday's mother, and Choice. Mayday, Little May's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Nobody even know nothing about these dogs yet. You know what I'm saying? They're not in the journal. I ain't seen them in the journal yet,
Right.
But they're in there because he's been matched.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this much. While we was there breeding to the Apache, we breeding Amber to Apache, he takes us to Mayday in the Choice match. So Mayday and Choice, and we seen Mayday and Choice, and Mayday won, but the dog hit him in the chest. And, and when he hit Mayday in the chest, Mayday hollered. And when Mayday hollered, Mayday turned right around, and 5 minutes later, that dog was done. DOA.
And Dolly, his mama, was she a cold dog?
Well, she wasn't no dog fighter. I can tell you that I know that when we saw her at Angels, she was the mother to Mayday and Choice.
Right.
That's how he presented her to us,
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you this too. She was being bred to Hollywood Bull, if I'm correct. They were trying to make a breeding with Hollywood Bull. Because he was talking to Carl Cruz while we was there. He was talking to Carl Cruz, and he was going to ship Dolly out, because Dolly was in heat, and he was going to ship her out that Monday to Carl Cruz. Yeah, we spent a couple of days up there with Angel. And the dog that I was breeding to, one thing I forgot to mention to y'all, the dog that I was breeding to when I bred Dusty, the rascal dog off of Shirley too, the guy whose dog I took her to be bred to was TKO Kennels.
Another famous kennel.
Another famous kennel. He was the last owner to Rascal. Rascal actually died on his yard.
So that's why sometimes when you look at the paperwork of dogs, it's like the name change, but it's really the same dog, just new owner.
Yep. So the guy who had him last was TKO Kennel. His name was Tony Picard or something like that. But that's TKO Kennels. You look on the registered mare list, you see got a dog on there named TKO's Autumn. She's a registered mare. That's a little insight on the type of people we're going to. Look at the breeders that we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, these are and all because of the journal now. This is how well my AP and me, I'm just catching up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm catching up fast because I got the journal. So I'm learning all the things that Pope taught me about pedigrees. I'm analyzing everybody.
Correct.
And like
correct.
you said, champions make champions. A champion cross will give you more percentage chance to get a match dog.
Say that again?
He said, breeding to a champion will always give you a percentage chance of getting match dogs.
Okay.
If you want to match a match good dog, then you continue to breed to great dogs.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And when I saw Mayday, you know what I said, right? I'm breeding to that motherfucker, okay? And we didn't have no puppies when we bred Amber and Angel's Apache. We didn't have no puppies.
Right.
So now they owe me a breeding. So I called Angel after seeing Mayday. I told him, hey, I want, I sent him the x-ray. I went and took Amber to the vet and got her x-ray and sent them a copy of the x-ray to show him that Amber wasn't pregnant. So they was like, honor me a breeding. And I told him I wanted to breed the Mayday, that dog I saw, that big dog I saw. And he told me, well, he's not here right now. He's back in Miami with Victor, but I'm going to give him a call and let him know. So he gave me a call. Now, Amber, she getting old now. She had picked up cancer right after we had bred to Angel's Apache. That's why she didn't have no puppy, because she had cancer.
Right.
But the puppy we bred off of Grand Champion Ace, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We had those puppies. Now, those puppies is like 12, 13, 14, 15 months old. Red Ace was like 18 months old when she came in heat. She had went through a heat, but we looking at her,
Yeah.
And someone told me, I'm going to breed this bitch before I take her out. After I get this little out of her, I'm going out with this bitch because she was bad,
Right.
So I called, and he sent me down there to Victor. I called Victor. Victor told me to bring her on. So I got a chance to go down there, and I took her down there to Mayday. Red Ace down there to Mayday. I spent 2 days down there with him down in Miami. Then I went home. I left her down there for about a week. And then I went back down to Miami to get her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got the Red Ace, the Red Ace Mayday breed. That's why she was a little ahead of everybody else, when it came down to Brat becoming Mayday's first champion.
Right.
Didn't nobody even know who Mayday was. Just a few who saw him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I saw him beat. I seen him beat the third one. The third one and the fourth one, because the fourth one broke his leg. Yeah, he fought that Grand Champion Booty dog. He broke his leg. And guess what happened to him? Same thing that happened to the other one I saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Reverend broke him up. DOA.
Yeah. So how many times you was able to breed the Mayday?
For me, I bred the Mayday twice.
You bred twice.
I bred Red Ace to him, and then I took Brat and bred Brat to him. Brat became a champion. That's how Brat became Mayday's first champion daughter that we bred back to him.
Right.
Remember, I'm the same one that made the first Mayday Stone City cross, because they couldn't stand each other.
Mm-hmm.
At the time that I made that breeding, they didn't like each other. They was already, when I took Red Ace over to Puerto Rico, after that breeding I made with Mayday, right?
Right.
Well, I took Red Ace over to Puerto Rico and went into Grand Champion Tommy Boy with her.
How that was? Explain to me how you did. You had to fly over there?
Yeah, I had to fly over. I drove from Akron to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then jumped on a plane that morning to Puerto Rico. And the bad thing about it, the morning that I got there, y'all, I was set to go that evening.
And how did the dog? How did the dog adjust to that? The flight, the travel.
She didn't. She wouldn't even come out the crate, bro. There's a whole story to that one. She didn't even come out the crate.
Mm-hmm.
And we took her down to around some dogs, right? And she wouldn't do nothing around the dogs. I couldn't get her sparked up or nothing. But I'm going that evening.